very much the classic mistake of new developers or indie developers. It is to like completely overscope and scope creep their project. So they want to make something unrealistically big, and I did that too. Okay. Um, so it's usually like, I really like World of Warcraft, so because of that, I'm gonna make my own World of Warcraft with hookers and booze, and that scope is just completely unrealistic. And you need, like, as an indie developer, and essentially any developer, you need to be super fucking realistic with your scope, and you need to understand you can do nowhere near as much as you think you can. Like, games take a shit ton of time to make just the simplest thing. And so either you do like complete hyper casual, where you spend a week like doing something, and that's where you see the games with the um like most of the games you see as game ads that takes like a week to make for an experienced small team. The ones where you have a guy shooting and these portals are coming and he chooses the wrong ones every time, and then he can get more guys or better guns, and then he's shooting hordes, right? That's like a hyper casual 1 week project. And they usually only have like 10 to 20 minutes of content, or is some kind of randomly generated very simply, so it can essentially go on forever. So what you do with that is you make it as simple as possible, and you basically only do one game mechanic or one game loop, and then you make it feel like a whole game, but it's not. So some of it could be like infinitely repetitive, even though it says you progress in levels. It might just be the same one with like a 5% increased damage or something like that, if there's even any um like meta progression. And then what happens is you release this game, you watch the metrics, and and if the metrics reaches a certain level, a certain threshold, then you know you can just pour add money into this, and you can develop it a little bit more to maybe polish it out, and then that game is done and you move on to the next. I see these games as huge fucking risks, because like you might, in the beginning you might make, if you are an experienced developer and so on, you might make one a month if you're really good at keeping the scope down. That is hard. And then when you really get to a point where you have an effective team, like 3, 4 people maybe, then you get it down to 1 week. And that still takes a lot of discipline, and I think it's a very stressful work environment. Some people will enjoy creating new ideas and getting them out there. I think it's very stressful to always have something ready every week. Um, and you need that because most of them are not going to be successful. And the ones who are successful, they will only be successful for like a week, 4 weeks or something, at max a couple of months. And then you need to get all your money back, and you need to refund like the next like 3 to 6 months development or something like that. So you have time to find the next one where you can make money. Alternatively, you make something like a casual game. Um, and with the rise of the survivor genre, I think that's a really good spot for indie developers to go right now, because a lot of the game mechanics are relatively simple. It has a lot of replayability. You can get it out relatively fast, and it's something people really want right now. And that's why we're seeing a lot of survivor games. We're seeing Vampire Survivor, Survivor IO, Swarm, um, what Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, and all of that. It's because it's easy. It has a good return on investment. Um, yeah, and it's something they can just crank out. And I think that's much more realistic. And then just start with that one small idea, polish it up, get it working, make it really fucking smooth and really fun. and then you can build an entire game around it. Like you just need that one game loop being really, really fun, and then expand on that slowly. But get the first for loop out and released, see player reaction and see the traction and everything. And when it works, just build it and expand it, and it'll be fine. And then we can talk about like why should you release your first mobile, like your first multiplayer mobile game without multiplayer, but just fake it. But we can get into that some